gunned down under mysterious circumstances.
He took that bullet and he went straight down.
Detectives looked to his love life for clues to the murder.
Michael, open up! I know you're in there!
He knows our victim had some girlfriend problems.
But then, a cache of new evidence spins the case in a whole new direction.
He thinks he's protecting Michael's reputation.
To solve the crime, Kenda and his men must venture down a dangerous path.
You want to use extreme caution. We have backup with us in case things get ugly.
Get on the ground! Do it now!
These cases require focus. You don't get the truth by asking for it. You get the truth by forcing it. There's one thing that never changes. Murder. A life has been taken. Their stories are now my stories. I never know where a case is going to lead, but I'll never stop until it's solved. Somebody has to look out for the victim. If you kill, I will find you.
It's nearly midnight in Colorado Springs. Like most residents on Marion Drive, Patty Moran is fast asleep.
It's quiet. She's in a deep sleep. But there's some noise coming from the other room. It wakes her up a little, but you're kind of in that place where you're half awake, half asleep. Her heart's racing, and then there was silence. Her roommate's body is covered in blood. It's an absolute nightmare.
Across town, Lieutenant Joe Kenda is preparing to head home after a busy week of detective work.
When I'm at work, you often had to just select a place to stop. Say, okay, this is enough for today. I'm going to go home now, and we'll come back to this on Monday. It's the comm center. We have a shooting.
All right, I'll be right there.
So I guess I'm not going home.
Minutes later, Lieutenant Kenda pulls up to a modest rental home on Marion Drive.
Evening. TGIF, man.
I wish.
So what we got? We got a shooting victim named Michael Tittlemore. He's a 23-year-old white male.
Ritz explained Mr. Tittlemore had been removed by ambulance. His condition was considered to be grave, and at 1:16 in the morning, Mr. Tittlemore is no longer with us. So now it's a homicide.
Who reported it? One of the two roommates. There's a Patty Moran and there's a Barry Wilson. Both roommates were here at the time of the shooting.
These two people in the house are obviously going to be our best witnesses. So these are the two critical people we want to talk to.
But first, Kenda and Ritz head inside to scrutinize the crime scene.
The front door has no evidence of forced entry. The lock mechanism and the door frame are intact. But other than that, there's no evidence of any struggle taking place.
Do we know how many times he was shot?
Only one shot to the chest. The patrol officers that got on scene said that he was struck on the left side of the chest. The bullet traversed his body and came out under the right armpit.
There's quite a bit of blood on the floor, but there is no blood anywhere else. The likelihood is that it was grievous injury internally to his chest to cause him to literally fall straight to the floor. somebody gets shot and they fly backwards. But people in film don't understand Newton's third law, equal and opposite reaction to the application of force. People either fall forward or they fall straight down. They crumble.
They recover weapon. No gun. They did find the casing for the round they think killed him.
It's a small .380 caliber shell casing. We also find where the projectile that had passed through the victim's body had actually struck the wall on the other side of the room.
Straight through. Tex dug it out. We've already sent everything to the lab for testing.
When you're conducting an investigation, you want to be able to tie the projectile or the bullet back to a particular weapon. Once you have that, you can identify the firearm to an individual. You're starting to build a better case.
Kenda and Ritz expand their search to the apartment's 2 bedrooms.
So 3 people stay here, but there's only 2 bedrooms?
Yeah, Patty, the female, lives here, and she said she shares a bed with the victim.
Shared a bed.
Yeah, the way she described it, I think it's one of those friends with benefits type of things.
The living arrangement raises additional questions for detectives. Could there have been some underlying tension between the roommates?
This is interesting.
We see a broken window, which seemed a little unusual. Don't know if it correlates to this crime, but it's quite possibly it does.
This is Michael and the other roommate.
We did notice a picture of our victim, Michael, with Barry. It tells us they have obviously been friends for a while they were in the service together.
So see what the roommates have to say.
When we speak with Patty, she's very distressed. She cares about Michael a great deal.
Miss Moran? I know you've been through a lot tonight. But we're here to help find out what happened to Michael. We need your help.
But I don't know what happened. Michael and I went to bed, and I guess at some point he got up.
She hears a gunshot in the living room. She opens the bedroom door to see Michael Tittlemore laying on the ground, and there's nobody else around.
Barry came out of his room and he yelled for me to call for help.
So you didn't see Barry at the living room when you first came out?
No, he came out of his room right after I did.
She's suggesting that Michael Tittlemore was shot by an unidentified third party, but we can't just take her word for it. We need to figure out the dynamics between the 3 roommates and make certain we're not missing anything.
Miss Moran, are you and Michael a couple?
Wouldn't say that. I'm just crashing here until I can get my own place.
What about the relationship between Michael and Barry? Can you tell us a little about that?
They're good friends. They always got along as far as I know.
We asked her if she knew if Michael had any enemies, and she said no. Well, what about the broken window? She said, well, I don't know. It's been that way since I moved in.
How long have you been living here?
Just a little over a week.
Oh, thank you.
She's not volunteering anything. She's responding to what we ask her. We feel at that moment we've probably gotten enough out of her for now. So we turn our attention to Barry, the other roommate.
You and Michael, how did you know each other?
I've known Michael for years. He's one of my best friends. He's always had my back.
Michael Tittlemore and Barry both been in the military together, where they became friends. They both got out. Michael found a job as a cook in a local restaurant. His friend couldn't find a job, and Michael was the kind of guy that said, I'll take care of you. We'll work at it together. So Barry owed his friend a lot.
Why don't you walk us through what you saw, what you heard after the shooting?
I was in bed sleeping, and I heard a loud knock at the door.
Barry says Michael answers the door. He hears some words exchanged. He doesn't know what they said. Then there's a gunshot.
I admit that I was scared, I didn't know what was going on. And then I heard Patty scream. And I went out and I saw Michael lying there bleeding. And we called 911.
You said you heard voices in the other room. Can you tell me how many voices? Did you recognize any of them?
I couldn't make out who was talking, but I know Michael was talking to another guy. Honestly, I don't know.
He seems very remorseful, and I'm not sensing any real trouble between any of the 3 roommates. But I just can't help get that feeling that he's holding back, so we try to keep him talking.
We noticed that there was a broken window in Michael's bedroom. You have any idea what happened there?
No idea. I'm sorry, I just can't believe this happened to him, you know? Like, he didn't deserve this. I just admit it.
But at this point, he's too emotional, and I can tell we're not going to get anywhere with him right now.
It's okay, Barry. Would you mind coming down to the station to help us out with a few more questions?
Yeah, of course.
Let's bring Patty too.
Although I don't think that Barry or Patty pulled the trigger, they represent the best chance we have of finding out who did.
Kenda and the team head back to the station to re-interview the pair. But before that can happen, another tip rolls in.
Excuse me, Lieutenant. Come on in. We had a CI call in about the Tiddamore case. Oh, really?
CI is the abbreviation for confidential informant. It's an individual that has information to share, and they're willing to do it.
Is he reliable? He has been in the past, and he lives in the same neighborhood as your victim. Great. Said he'd be willing to meet you there. Thank you. You bet.
We have a particular CI whose name is Tony. That's not his name, but that's what he goes by. Fine. We don't need to know your last name. We need to know what you know.
Can I get you guys anything else?
Now we're all set. All right, Tony, why are we here?
So Tony says he's heard something about this. He needs a little cash. Well, of course he does.
That's it? What I've got is worth at least double this.
That's all I've got, man.
The most I ever paid an informant in my career was $100. To them, that was all the money in the world. Considering how they live, that is a lot of money.
So, I heard Tiddamore took a bullet. I know him. And? For starters, I know he has some crazy girl problems.
Girl problems.
Like the kind of problems that could get a guy killed? We are investigating the shooting death of Michael Tiddamore, who was killed in his own home. We are reaching out to a local informant who claims to know that Michael Tiddamore has been having girl problems.
Man, Tiddamore was a player. He always was.
Yeah, how so?
Every couple months, I would see him with a different girl.
It seemed that Michael did have a history of being with young women for a month, 2 months, 3 months at a time, ending that relationship and moving on to the next one. That was his pattern.
Has he seen anybody recently?
He used to be with this girl named Angela, but they broke up. So she's with some other dude now.
He says she began staying with a guy named Trey, and they became an item, and Michael tried to get back in the picture, and Trey was extremely upset about that and had threatened Michael over it.
From what I know, Trey went over to Michael's place and they got into it pretty bad.
Do you know where this Trey lives?
That I don't know, but I can tell you where to find Angela.
You write it down for us.
He tells us she happens to live in the same neighborhood, which makes it easy for us.
As the sun comes up, Kenda and Ritz track down Michael's ex-girlfriend Angela at her home.
Man, Colorado Springs Police Department.
Kind of early for a visit, don't you think?
Do you mind if we come in and ask you a couple of questions?
Not even dressed.
Angela presents herself as the usual resistive, I hate the police 22-year-old. Nothing unusual about that. No one wants to see us. No one ever does.
We need to talk to you about your ex-boyfriend, Michael Tiddamore, and your current boyfriend, Trey.
What? How do you know so much about my business? I don't have to talk to them.
Your ex-Michael was murdered last night, and we're here to find out who did it.
Oh my God, what?
I never like to surprise someone with a death notice, but sometimes I don't have any choice.
This is crazy. Are you sure it's Michael?
I'm afraid so. What can you tell us about your relationship with him?
Well, we dated a little and then we broke up. I started seeing Trey. but I was still friendly with Michael.
She says Michael got a hold of her by phone. Trey became unstuck about it.
So Trey went over there to confront him.
Was Trey jealous of Michael?
You could say that. Trey ran over to Michael's and he was ready to start a fight.
Michael, open the door. Michael, open up. I know you're in there. Yeah, I see you, Michael.
No one would open the door, so Trey goes to the side of the house and he sees Michael in the window.
Come out here and face me, man. Man, go away. I'm not going to start with you. I told you to stay away from my girl. You wouldn't listen. Quit being a little punk and get out of here. Man, get off my property. Oh, you're not going to come out? No, get off. Okay. Hey, you better put that down.
And he throws a rock and breaks the window.
Gonna come out now? Man, you better get out of here. You're gonna pay for that. What kind of coward are you? Man, you better get out of here.
They found out it was Trey that was responsible for breaking the window in the apartment some weeks before.
Better watch your back. This ain't over, bitch. Hey, get off my property.
Now Trey is looking to be a pretty good suspect.
You know what, we could find Trey, I'd really like to talk to him.
Don't look at me, you guys have him locked up.
What do you mean?
He's been there for over a week. He's been trying to post bail.
We'll check it out.
Yeah. Can I use your phone?
It's over there.
Was in custody is the ultimate alibi, but we have to confirm that. Very simple call down to the Criminal Justice Center.
She's right. He's been there for a couple of weeks.
Can I get on with my life now?
Yes, we're done here. I'm sorry to disturb you.
You encounter people with criminal records. They go in and out of jail rather commonly. Trey had no opportunity to shoot Michael because he was in the can.
With Trey cleared as a suspect, Kenda and Ritz return to the station, hoping to glean some additional information from Michael's roommates.
You take Patty, I'll take Barry. See if we can find anything new.
Sure thing.
Excuse me, Lieutenant. We completed the search of the Tittlemore residence. We didn't find any weapons, but we did find something interesting.
When police do a sweep of Barry's room, they find a bag of weed under his mattress. But it's not just a small personal bag that one would have for personal use. This would indicate that someone was probably selling it.
Good find. Let's see what the roommates have to say about that.
Now this murder is making more sense. Where there's drugs, there's trouble.
All right, Patty. Let's just take it from the beginning, okay?
Okay.
While Ritz sits down with Patty Moran, Kenda goes in for round 2 with Barry Wilson.
Thanks for being patient.
So, what do you guys need from me?
Let's cut to the chase.
Why is somebody knocking on your door at midnight, Barry? Because he wants to borrow a cup of sugar. And he looks at the floor.
It was a bag of weed, okay? Michael's bag of weed. Okay, I'm sure you guys found it when you searched the place.
You're right. We did.
I said, Barry, we're not narcotics officers. We're homicide investigators. I'm concerned about Michael Tittlemore getting shot in the chest.
We're not going to bust you. But we need to know what kind of operation Michael was involved in so we can catch whoever did this to him. Well?
Michael was just selling a little on the side to make ends meet, okay?
Just a little on the side.
Barry says Michael worked at kind of an entry-level job at a restaurant, wasn't making a whole lot of money, and he was supplementing his income by just selling a little marijuana.
Look, you have to understand, he wasn't a big-time dealer or anything, okay? He was small-time, you know? Maybe selling an ounce here or there.
And who was he selling to?
I don't know, mostly just friends. But lately, anyone who would ask.
Great. So now we have everybody in the city of Colorado Springs who uses marijuana who's a suspect in this event.
So this guy who came banging on the door at midnight was there to buy drugs?
I don't know, probably.
So there's any number of possibilities that now exist that didn't exist 5 minutes ago, but certainly complicate this case immensely. Michael is a dealer. He's a low-level dealer, but he's a dealer nonetheless.
When I saw Michael lying there, okay, I saw the bag of weed and I moved it. I didn't want Michael to get in trouble. Okay, it must have just fallen out of his duffel bag.
His duffel bag?
Yeah, that's where he keeps all his stuff.
He told us there was a duffel bag that Michael usually kept his marijuana in, along with some other paraphernalia to include scales and stuff like that. But that bag was missing.
I'm sorry I didn't tell you guys earlier, okay? I panicked, I knew the cops were on their way, and I picked up the bag and I hid it.
Your best friend is murdered and is dying in front of you. I can't imagine the things that goes through a person's mind.
You have to understand, Michael was my best friend. And I don't want his family to be ashamed of him.
People very often alter crime scenes. They remove things they think is damaging. He thinks he's protecting Michael's reputation, when in point of fact, he's just muddying the water and making this even more difficult.
Barry, what else are you holding back on?
That's everything I know.
And I said, Barry, you need to be straight with me when there's a knock at the door.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Mind if I join you? Barry's about to tell us everything that's going on here.
There's nothing left to tell.
Well, Barry, I just got done speaking with your friend Patty, and she said I needed to talk to you because she said that you knew who killed Mike.
According to Patty, our man Barry knows who the killer is. Well, my. I'm all ears. We've discovered that our victim, Michael Tittlemore, dabbled in the drug trade. Now, apparently, we have someone who can name the person who pulled the trigger.
Is this true, Barry? Because if you know who killed your friend, you need to help us catch him. Come on, Barry. Michael was your friend. Help your friend.
I don't know him, okay?
So Barry opens up to as much as he knows.
He came around a couple times, and, I think he's one of Michael's customers. You have to understand, he started just selling to friends.
The usual concept of I'm only going to sell to friends and friends of friends lasts about 6 hours. And that's on to anybody that has the money.
I guess word got out, and more people started showing up, and then things flew off the handle.
He says this guy shows up at their place the day of the murder and had a falling out with Michael.
Hey man, so what can I do for you?
Man, let's just get enough for a blunt.
How much?
Just enough for a blunt. I got the money right now, but I'll get you back next time. What's so funny?
He thinks it was a person by the name of Bo. He had actually purchased marijuana from our victim before.
Listen, man, I ain't bank.
Come on, man. You know
Not
I got
giving
it.
you a loan, man. Come back when you got the cash.
Talk about a bank, man. I need my right now.
You need to get out right now. Come back when you got some.
You stepping up on. All right, man. Don't worry. I'll be back, bitch. I'll be back.
Barry describes him as maybe having a little bit of a Napoleon complex.
He was definitely a psycho. I definitely think he'd be crazy enough to kill someone.
Why didn't you mention this Bo to us before?
I don't know, man. I'm not a snitch, okay? Besides, I don't know anything about him.
Jenda and Ritz waste no time digging up all they can on their new person of interest.
Hey, Chris. What's up? You got a name we need you to run.
When we're trying to identify Bo, we're able to, in our database, to search by the monikers or AKAs.
Now, almost always you come up with 25 bows, but it's a place to begin.
Yeah, we've got some bows, but nothing too concrete.
Can you go ahead and print that out? I'll have somebody look into it. Sure.
So we're making progress, however slow it is, and then we get some news that I am desperate for.
Hey, Lieutenant. Guys in Ballistics are looking for you. They've got some information back on that Tittlemore case you've been working on. Fantastic.
It's useful in this case to have an expanded casing, and it's really useful to have a slug.
Give us some good news, Doug.
Here, take a look at this. We got a match on those markings.
The extractor and ejector markings on expanded casings are unique to a particular weapon.
We know that the .380 killed Mr. Tiddamore. We also know that the same pistol was used in another shooting a few months back. Great. Mind if we keep this? Absolutely. Thank you.
That's very helpful to us in the fact that if that case has suspects or has names associated with it, gives something to look at.
Armed with this new information, Kenda and Ritz begin to dig through reports from the shooting 3 months prior.
You see anything?
This looks like a gang thing. He survived.
And it turns out he's in jail in Los Angeles at the time we learn of it.
Oh, that's not gonna work.
So it's not practical to send somebody to Los Angeles to talk to a guy about getting shot in the leg.
Wait a minute. Police could never prove who did the shooting, but the two prime suspects were a guy named K-Dub and a fella named Bo.
Really?
Well, guess what? We got a bow in our investigation.
That is crucial information. So Bo is not just a person of interest. Bo is suspect number one.
Desperate to get their hands on Bo, Kenda turns to a tactic that has worked for them in the past.
Yes, this is Lieutenant Kenda of the CSPD. We've got this homicide case on our hands that we could really use some help on. Yes, we'll send you over the details.
We use a Crime Stoppers program, which provides money to informants who come forward to lead to an arrest of a wanted person. So we put the word on the street. Where is Bo?
Of course, you're going to get a lot of fake leads. Maybe somebody wants a quick payout. But eventually, somebody is going to come forward with something that is a real lead.
2 days later, Kenda and Ritz are planning their next move.
They might have to take a new tack on this.
I mean, we can always go back to the original.
Hey, Elsie, been meaning to talk with you. We got an informant named Franklin. He says he knows who you're looking for and where to find him.
Oh, Franklin. Good for you, because we want to find Bo and drag him into a police station by his nostrils. So we're investigating the death of Michael Tiddamore. At this point, I'm thinking that Bo is going to be our shooter because he uses the same gun in 2 different shootings. We have an informant who says, I know where you can find Bo.
You Franklin?
Yeah. Working with informants is a very chancy thing in a lot of ways. Hopefully it's valid information, but you just don't know.
So what do you got for us, Franklin?
Okay, here's the deal. The guy you're looking for, he's part of this gang called H2MG.
The informant Franklin says H2MG means homicidal deuce money-making gangster, which is absolutely insane, of course. But if you have an IQ of 75, apparently it's meaningful.
And what do these guys have to do with the murder of Michael Tiddamore?
Well, I was out, doing my thing, minding my business. This guy called K-Dub, he was shooting his mouth off.
That's important because we know that K-Dub was the name that came up with Bo in another investigation of another shooting.
K-Dub was just standing around talking to some of his crew. Apparently, he jacked some white dude.
Jack, in 1993, was an expression indicating an armed robbery.
Now, I don't know if it was K-Dub or one of the other H2MG guys that actually shot the white guy, but I know they was involved.
Now, at this moment, that really appeals to me. A bunch of nitwits get together, make a decision to do a robbery, things go bad, and Michael dies.
You know K-Dub's real name? Where he hangs out?
Yeah, Harper. I think his first name is Kevin. He stays with a friend over in this White House over on Summit Street.
So they have identified one suspect, Kevin Harper, but now they have to figure out who Bo is.
You know anything about a guy named Bo that might be part of all this?
Yeah, Bo. There's a guy called Bo, part of H2MG. Small guy.
Franklin says he looks like he's 11 years old, but he knows he's 17. And he's got a tattoo. He's got H2MG in his right arm.
These guys are dangerous, man.
Thanks for the info.
Franklin, Kenda and Ritz arrive outside the home of Kevin Harper, aka K-Dub, and wait for backup.
Dispatch for Kenda.
Go for Kenda.
Lieutenant, we ran a search on Kevin Harper. He's got an active arrest warrant issued through the local courts.
Knowing he has an active warrant is good for us. We have a valid reason to bring him in.
You ready?
Let's do this.
The fact that K-Dub belongs to a wannabe gang indicates he fancies himself as someone who's a tough guy, which means he's willing to do anything to prove it.
Knock it down. I didn't do that. Turn around. Turn around. You're under arrest. Quick, go.
First words out of his mouth is, I didn't do anything. Well, that usually is the clue to us is, yeah, you did something. Now let's figure out what it is.
At the station, the detectives offer K-Dub a chance to prove his innocence.
Look, we don't care about the existing possessions charge, all right? We want to know about Michael Tiddamore.
I know you guys think I shot that guy, but I didn't. And I can prove it.
Well, yeah, we'd love to hear all about that, Kevin.
According to K-Dub, there's this guy he knows named Bo, who has bought weed off this new guy named Michael Tiddamore.
He's talking about going over there and taking his stash.
Was he working with anyone?
He was working with John and Snoop.
K-Dub says that he didn't participate in the drug rip. Instead, he just stayed home with his girlfriend.
So the three of them took off, and Bo took the community gun.
Wait, community gun?
This investigation is the first time I've ever come across the term community gun. And in this particular case, it meant that this small group of individuals had one weapon between them, and they just shared the weapon.
K-Dub explains that Bo, John, and Snoop returned an hour later. And when K-Dub found out that Bo had used the community gun to actually shoot someone, he was furious.
K-Dub was angry at Bo that he involved him. It's a first-degree murder, and he's ended up to his neck, courtesy of Bo.
Honestly, Detective, I wasn't part of it.
Yeah, we'll see about that. But right now, we need to talk to this Bo. What's his real name?
Floyd Sennett. I know he's staying over there at a house on Marion Boulevard.
Thank you very much, Kevin. We'll be sure to give your friend Bo your warmest regards.
As the sun rises, Kenda sets up surveillance on the house where Floyd Sennett, who goes by the street name Bo, is allegedly holing up.
We come prepared with a warrant to search his home and for his arrest.
See anything?
No, nothing.
In a situation like this, you want to use extreme caution. We have no idea how dangerous he is.
Hold on. We got somebody coming out.
All right, everyone hold tight. This might be our guy.
I'm hoping that Bo surrenders without incident, but given the fact he's been in 2 shootings that we know about, I'm not willing to bet on it. We finally have a location for our prime suspect, Floyd Sennett, with us in case things get ugly.
All right, everyone hold tight. This might be our guy.
Guys that look like little kids and that carry guns are dangerous. Nobody's going to interfere with them because they'll shoot them if they do.
That's him. Let's grab him. Go ahead and cuff him.
Lo and behold, here is Mr. Floyd Sennett.
Floyd Sennett? You're under arrest for the murder of Michael Tiddamore. Get him out here.
Back at the station, the detectives escort Floyd's mother into the interrogation room.
Floyd, are you okay?
Yes, Mom.
So she waives Bo's rights for him and tells her son to tell the police the truth.
I need you to talk about the day you and your friends went and robbed Michael Tittlemore.
Talk to the man, Bo. Tell him you had nothing to do with this nonsense.
Mama, I don't know what to say.
You better say something.
Floyd is what he is. He is a frightened child. Even though he's 17, he knows that this is the big one, and he is terrified.
I don't know about no robbery. I've met Michael before, but I don't know who shot him.
Bo, I already know what happened. And whether you know it or not, you're already up to your neck in this.
We know you had a gun for months. You used it to shoot a guy in the leg, and you used that same gun to shoot Michael Tittlemore. So why don't you just tell us what you did? We'll save everybody a lot of time.
I used to buy weed for Michael, but he said I couldn't have a tab, so I told my friend K-Dub. They said I could just go take it.
Bo is already painting a different story from what K-Dub told us. Bo says that K-Dub pressured him to put together a robbery plan. K-Dub told him because Tittlemore knows him, knows Bo, that if Bo knocks on the door, Tittlemore will open the door.
Man, you said a dude know you. He gonna open the door for you. Take Snoop and John with you. Go take it.
I don't know, man. He got a roommate. This might go bad.
So what? Take the community gun. Stop acting like a little bitch.
All right, John, let's go.
Go get that money.
So K-Dub is essentially pressuring Bo to do this job. He's provided the weapon, he's provided the plan, and sent him on his way.
So you, John, and Snoop went over to Michael's house. What happened next?
So apparently they all had a role. Bo would broker the deal because Michael knew him. John would handle the gun for the stick-up, and Snoop would be the backup.
Got the piece?
Yeah, I got it.
Yo, man, you gotta knock louder.
Man, I'm not trying to wake the whole damn neighborhood.
Michael comes to the door.
You guys gotta come back tomorrow.
I got the money.
Bo says, "Hey man, it's Bo. I need some stuff."
Let's make this quick. I gotta work tomorrow.
Our victim doesn't really want to sell him anything, but he goes entry. It fits the crime scene.
How much you got left?
I got 50 on me.
He's not alarmed that he has two guys with him. Just figured he needs to buy some weed. So he gets his bag, again the amateur, showing now more people than Bo his supply. So in the heat of the moment, the adrenaline is pumping through Bo's veins.
Yo, what are you doing? Put the gun down, man.
Give me a whole stash.
He shoots him once. He fell down. Bo grabbed the bag, and they ran. All three of them.
Yo, we gotta go.
What Bo doesn't realize is when he grabbed the big bag of marijuana fell out of it. So he's running out with this empty duffel bag with just some drug paraphernalia in it.
It was a total bust. It was just a couple pipes in the bag, but no money, no weed.
So what did you guys do with the gun and the duffel bag?
I don't know. I went numb after I shot him. I think John just tossed the gun somewhere on our way to K-Dub's house.
With Floyd's Senate's assistance, Kenda's team is able to track down and arrest his two accomplices.
We're able to confirm their real names and round them up. John is Jonathan Butler. Snoop is Corey Shaw.
Just have a seat right here.
They both corroborate the story of Bo that this was a robbery gone bad.
So you're telling me that K-Dub orchestrated this whole robbery thing from the beginning? Is that about right?
Yeah. He told us what we were supposed to do when we got to that guy's place. But then the whole plan fell apart. It's Bo's fault.
We never found the community gun involved in this event. I'm sure it moved on into 10 other pairs of hands. The gun would have been a nice thing to have, but it was never found.
Stop right there.
Now confident in Kevin Harper's involvement in the murder, Kenda orders his arrest.
3206. Your name, sir? Mr. Harper, you're charged with one count of conspiracy to commit aggravated robbery.
Kevin Harper, K-Dub, was found guilty of conspiracy to commit aggravated robbery and conspiracy to commit a crime, and he's sentenced to 10 years in prison for those two offenses.
Jonathan Butler, aka John, was found guilty of robbery and being a habitual criminal and received 24 years. Corey Shaw, street name Snoop, pled guilty to second-degree murder and aggravated robbery. He was sentenced to 16 years for each crime. Floyd Sennett, also known as Bo, was prosecuted as an adult and pled guilty to second-degree murder. He was sentenced to 45 years in prison. But no amount of jail time will bring back 23-year-old Michael Tittlemore.
Michael Tittlemore served his country honorably, discharged from the military. Unable to support himself, he chose to sell small amounts of drugs. He believed that was the avenue for his success, and it was his avenue to the grave.